welcome back, everybody, inside the Gamecocks, the show. We are firing up some women's basketball talk now, joined by the 24/7, the Big Spurs own Joe Macheca. Joe, what are your thoughts on the overly debated UCLA at number 1, Carolina at number 2 issue?
Gentlemen, it's obviously my pleasure to be joining you this afternoon. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a little overly debated. Could be used as motivation if the team wants to. But I mean, at the end of the day, they got the same privileges as a number 1 overall seed normally would. I mean, they're playing on Friday. They got the Friday Sunday draw, and to be honest, I mean, they're 16 teams. In their side of the bracket or they feature, half of them are teams that they've seen before. So, super helpful draw. And then again, as I mentioned, the schedule is super helpful as well. So, I mean, if this team wants to use it as motivation, they can. But they've got a lot else going for them as well going into tournament time. So we'll see.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I like the fact that it kept you within your, conference region, essentially, all the way through the title, because you're playing that in Florida.
Yeah, but they would have. I didn't like UCLA gets to play a winner of the play-in game.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is true.
But I mean, look, is Tennessee Tech going to be tough? If Tennessee Tech beats Carolina, let's all complain.
Yeah.
There's more to complain about if that happens.
Well, fire Donati. That's how you fix that. It's
fire Donati. Fire Donati. One boy. All right. So Robert brings up an excellent point, Joe. And I mentioned this the other day. It's a theory of mine. Agree or disagree, or just think about it. I'm saying that a lot today. Robert says in the Nana Sports chat box, he watched ESPN Around the Horn yesterday, and each one of the 4 panelists picked Southern Cal, UCLA, Texas, and Connecticut. So 4 different champions, the defending champion, South Carolina. He says there's most definitely South Carolina fatigue. Do you think perhaps there is? It seems to me like there is, just from the way the polls have been voted on.
Yeah.
The talking heads, which in women's basketball are garbage, in my opinion. I don't even know
of
very many that do a good job outside of Debbie Antonelli, and she's now cut, but mostly does the men.
Yeah.
I listened to her and a couple of other ones. Most of them are terrible. So just kind of, what do you think about that?
I mean, there's certainly a lot of South Carolina fatigue, and this program is starting to fuel off of that, right? Like they were relatively new to the scene in terms of, how dynasties in women's basketball go. UConn was, kind of on top of the mountain for so long, and then, South Carolina, the new money gets in there, and, everyone starts to get tired of them really quickly. So I think, Dawn especially, and, everybody within this program is kind of tired of everyone getting tired of them so quickly and looking for new blood. And, granted, it's a little bit easier this year because, women's college basketball is getting deeper, right? It's getting more spread out. It's getting, a little bit more even. You're starting to see stars at different places, especially with the transfer portal and whatnot. But again, it's just one of those things where, South Carolina fatigue, especially on the national level and with ESPN and whatnot, it's certainly getting up there. So again, this team is out to prove that, hey, like they deserve a little bit more time in the limelight for sure.
I have understood it last year with Caitlin Clark at Iowa. That was obviously there's a generational thing for those of you that don't understand the term of generational. Caitlin Clark. And I understood it. And South Carolina was kind of the foil of all that. But let me ask you this, Joe. Do you think it may be because South Carolina basketball under Dawn Staley, yes, you have 10 McDonald's All-Americans on the roster. What you don't have is star players that fill up the stat sheet. It's the scoring, rebound. It's all evenly distributed on this team. Yeah. And that's rare. And I think that's a tribute to her as a coach to have all these egos and to get that balanced scoring and just win. You think it may be because of that? Because everybody loves in basketball a star player. Everybody loves a star player.
Most definitely. Right. I mean, it's easy to hate the people that are doing what, seems to be everything right, almost, right? You peel back the layers, especially with the basketball, as you mentioned, holding all those egos, on that team and being able to get them to all play together, share the basketball, have, numerous players, about 9-10 players scoring 5 or more per game is pretty legit stuff. So, it's it's easier to hate and easier to get fatigued when you keep peeling back the layers and it's like, oh, they're doing this right. Oh, they're doing this right. Oh, they're, right. So, yeah, absolutely, for certain. And again, they're going to continue to play their own basketball, and again, as I mentioned, I think that's one of the motivating factors for this team, the fatigue that everyone's starting to get all of a sudden when all the new other than South Carolina basketball starts to pop up.
Yeah, there are a lot of schools that are getting better. All right, Khloe Kitts, really great SEC tournament. She's improved quite a bit from the beginning of the season till the end. Talk to us a little bit about that and kind of her journey into being more productive. And just kind of tell us, your thoughts and impressions from having seen her play up close for as long as you have. Talk about Khloe a little bit. Then I'm going to ask you about another player.
Yeah, Chloe's been great. I mean, essentially, guys, I mean, as we know, like I like to say this a lot, but she enrolled early, right? So she's technically a sophomore. She plays like an upperclassman. She's really starting to come into her own, on the offensive end. And again, with eligibility, it's kind of cut short that you don't get her for 2 more seasons. But certainly coming into her own and stepping up and maturing as a player, and living up to the junior role and being all that and more in the SEC tournament, 25 points when you need it the most. Against Vanderbilt, because Vanderbilt got that lead down to just 1 point. And then, Khloe has a knack for, if it comes down to it. And as we mentioned, I mean, this team likes to share the basketball, and which I think to their, or to a negative point, or, to their own fault, that, it takes them longer to get into a rhythm when, you're feeding the basketball to one person, and you got to let one person shoulder the basketball. So again, that Vanderbilt game was clutch. Khloe finished with 25. She's really coming to her own. And, again, I'm interested to see what she can do with Molly Benetti this upcoming summer, to see, how she can balance the weight to get all of the rebounds while also scoring at an efficient pace. She's got the tenacity that you need to be an inside scorer this year. I mean, she's gotten, stuff to go where she's gotten fouled through 2 people. Like that's stuff that you see on the next level. And so Kitts continues to grow. And we'll be interested to see her development, in through the tournament and into next year as well.
So you got Joyce Edwards, who actually I think is leading statistically the team in scoring as a true freshman. You've been tracking her for a while, seeing her kind of grow. Talk about the importance of her playing well in the NCAA tournament coming up.
Yeah, Joyce playing well is going to be key, because again, you saw like in the SEC tournament, she finally got her feet underneath her on the bigger stage where the lights are brighter. So that was big, scoring, I believe it was 15, 20 some odd points in that second game against Oklahoma. So that was big for Joyce to get it going. She's one of your biggest scorers, and you need scoring off the bench for this whole thing to work, right? And so Joyce and Malaysia Fulwiley have been great off the bench. You kind of look for Dawn Staley's teams, like, what are 2-3 players that are going to work well together in certain units that are going to score the basketball? I mean, obviously the starters, we've seen Kitts, we've seen Pow a little bit, we've seen, a variety of different players. Fagan stepped up as well, but as soon as Edwards and Fulwiley check in, they take over the game offensively. So big growth from Joyce, and she's going to continue to keep growing, as she moves along. But tremendous stuff from a homegrown true freshman.
Now, I thought on the men's side, the committee sucked and put a lot of pitfalls in the second round against some of the number 1 seeds. I look, Indiana, Utah is the 8-9 on Friday. I know you'll be at Colonial Life Arena tracking that before the Gamecock game. And obviously, Indiana was a team Carolina played last year in the Sweet 16.
Right? They played Utah as well last year too.
Yeah, they played Utah last year as well. So these are teams they're familiar with, as you and on the walkthrough and Brad pointed out.
Yep.
But Indiana to me is a little tricky for a second round game. They played Carolina tough last year. They're not a program that's going to be intimidated. Talk about that potential second round matchup with both of those teams. Obviously familiar opponents, but does that kind of, I'll say scare you a little bit, but it's kind of one of those games where you can't just say, hey, it's a layup, because there's probably going to be some more upsets this year on the women's side than normal.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think the second round game is the most upsetty kind of, matchup that this team could have within this, tournament, especially, I mean, at least at Colonial Life as well. Both those teams play fast basketball, right? So it's going to, I mean, if you get into a fast break, shootout. Essentially, you got to make your shots, right? You got to hit high percentage. You got to be able to go into the lane and get what you want, which South Carolina is capable of doing. Again, with those games, the only reason that those should, really offer any kind of scare is because you got to shoot the basketball well. And when South Carolina has been expected to shoot the basketball well, they haven't. So and on days where it's like, all right, obviously you got to shoot the basketball to win, but it wasn't as as much importance. They shot the basketball really well. So again, just look out for if that game gets fast paced, but then look for Wiley to take over. She likes to win the crowd over in the open floor with everything that she can do off of a steal, or you name it, going up through 2-3 defenders, behind the back passes, whatever it is. It certainly will get the home crowd involved.
From the Nana Sports chat box, Ben has a couple of things. He says Debbie Antonelli and Carolyn Peck are about the only ones he can listen to talking about the national media. Muffet McGraw is pretty good too, but she's pretty much only on the ACC network. Muffet McGraw, legendary Notre Dame coach, recently retired. Reminds me of some of the ladies at the bar here in Chicago that have retired. Tough, very tough. So who out there do you like to listen to? Like who are some folks that write or talk about the women's game that you would put your stamp of approval on, if there is any? A fine answer is nobody. It's fine too. I kind of feel that way sometimes.
Yeah, Alexa Felpow is great with ESPN. Got a chance to meet her when she came in for the UConn game. Super great human being, really nice. Covers the game really well from a writing perspective. And then Carolyn Peck's not bad on ESPN, and again, they do a great job covering women's basketball. And again, I try to absorb it just from everywhere and try to give the writers and stuff their due whenever I see it. But sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle. But a lot of good coverage of women's basketball, and I know certainly internally, based on the conversations I've had, everyone appreciates it.
And Ben just add, this is more of a comment than a question. It's Indiana's very well coached. They play tough defense. They gave Southern Cal and UCLA all they can handle. I keep forgetting the two LA schools are in the Big Ten. I don't forget. I know intellectually. But when I'm in my mind sorting through conference tournaments, I don't really think about I think I said the other day that they played for the Pac-12 or Pac-10 title or something like that. I don't know. It's hard to
That's
get
how
used
it should
to
be. JC, it needs to be all geographic in my eyes, but I don't get
the SEC is fine, geographically. The rest of them
the SEC
screwed the pooch.
Even with Texas and OU, that's fine in the SEC because they're the two biggest brands.
Yeah, they're southern states, man. Yeah, it's
and you only added one state throughout that. You already had
Oklahoma's the only new state.
Yeah, exactly.
If any don't make sense, it's Missouri. Missouri's, I think, more of a Big Ten culture than a SEC culture.
Big 10, Big 12. I don't know. Big 12. They could go back, I guess.
Throw them back in the pond.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Hey, look. So two kind of sort of off-topic questions. So if Carolina wins both games, you're going to Birmingham to cover.
Yeah.
Right. Have you ever had Dreamland barbecue?
I've not, but I've heard about it.
Talk to Whittle.
About it.
Talk to Whittle. He knows all about Dreamland. Tell him to give you and Ryan get directions, and you go have a dinner there on thebigspur.com. That's good.
I'm looking forward to it. It's been rumored around the beat how good Dreamland is. So when everything shook out to Birmingham, I was hopeful we'd get things done. So looking forward to trying it. Believe me, there will be pictures.
Yeah, dude, it should be awesome. With that, and who do you have in the men's bracket? Who do you like, dude?
Anybody but Florida. I'm very anti-Florida's head coach, man. I don't know. I don't think he's the best of human beings, and I'll leave that to your own research. But
did he get it?
I don't know, man. Like anybody but Florida. I'm getting kind of tired of Auburn, but I don't know. I'd like to see a St. John's. Rick Pitino's been fun to follow all year, but I don't think they've got enough to get it done. But we'll see. Anybody but Florida, fellas.
So you said earlier you're gonna have lots of pictures from Dreamland. I think he'd probably enjoy some pictures of.
Exactly.
Anyway, I'm sorry. He was cleared. Don't nobody sue me.
The good old Florida Gator clear, right? If he's winning, it's fine.
Go Gators.
There's a lot of stuff under that rug, JC.
I'm telling you this right now. I don't think you. I mean, Florida has an interesting history, and I'll leave that part at that. But I think if you look at kind of they're one of the ones with the 8-9 that like Auburn has to play Louisville in if Louisville beats whoever they're playing.
That's a tough matchup. Yeah,
they have to play Louisville in Lexington, Kentucky.
That's tough break.
I think I don't know. Somebody's got to play. Is it Florida's got to play Gonzaga? Somebody's got to play Gonzaga. But that 8-9 was a screw job. So Florida may go bye-bye because as we saw when they played Carolina, if they go hot, if they go cold, they could lose to anybody. So, they're kind of a streaky shooting team. But okay, so I've got you down as anybody but the Gators.
Anybody but the Gators, boy.
Anything else?
Todd Golden is not a stand-up human being.
Talk about the so you had the walkthrough yesterday, interviews with Brad. They're all over the place. Going to have a lot more of that stuff up on our YouTube channel, Chief Sports South Carolina. Also on thebigspur.com, the video content there. I've got Joe sent me about 4 more. So here's plenty of video content previewing this thing up by tomorrow.
Clip there,
yeah, got to have it up by tomorrow. Going to have it all up by tomorrow, and then coverage from the thing. So just kind of tease and talk about your conversation with Brad and the walkthrough and that what happened yesterday.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's always good having Brad Muller on, one of the hardest working men in play-by-play. Does his, calls similar to me, just, hosting it solo. Super fun to have him on, talk women's basketball with, talk preview the tournament, or talk about Selection Sunday. Like, do they actually feel like they were getting screwed over and all that? So full breakdown, over on, the Chief Sports YouTube, also on the walkthrough, TBS, Twitter, and the Big Spur Twitter as well. So I think I hit all bases there. But
there's a lot of stuff.
Hat tip again. Appreciate all the folks at Ernie. Go if you haven't had the chance, go check that out. Ernie.com. Sign up for that bracket challenge again. Making my show possible this week. So appreciate everyone, and go check that interview out again. Appreciate Brad Muller joining me as always. He's the man.
The voice of champions is what we call it.
Yes, the voice of champions.
The voice of champions. Yeah, it's the best. And I mean, I personally, for me, I hope Tahina Pau kind of gets going because he has one of the greatest 3-point calls of all time. When Pau gets going, the Pau is unbelievable. So I'm ready for that.
I'm fired up about that as well.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, have a good one, buddy. And thanks for joining us, and keep up the good work. And can't wait to read your coverage from Friday and the weekend. And hopefully, most likely from Birmingham the next week. Curious to see what you think about the dreamland out there if you end up going.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it, gentlemen. Again, appreciate you having me on as always, and looking forward to catching up with you maybe next week about, if this team continues on past Tennessee Tech and Utah and Indiana potentially. So appreciate you having me as always, and good to see you guys.
Absolutely, brother. Take it easy.
Appreciate it.